Okay, hello everybody, Mark Pierce, StarTech Marketing. In today's video tutorial walkthrough, we're going to take a look at Malwarebytes, the free version. One of the first things you want to do and make sure that you always do is go down to the database versions and make sure that there's a check mark here. I just updated it for today's tutorial, but we'll do it again. Also, just in case you happen to purchase the full version, StarTech Marketing may be compensated for your purchase because we are an affiliate. So just with that said, you can download the free version. It works just fine. Okay, so I want to walk through the top interface before we start clicking on everything, okay? You'll see in the right-hand bottom they put this nice green Scan Now button. It shows your last date that you did scan and so forth, okay? On the left-hand side here you'll see little news updates by Malwarebytes, which is nice. Let's go through here. This is the license, of course, database, and the scan in progress. We haven't started it yet. And also, with the free version, you do not get the real-time protection. So just so you know that, we're only looking at the free version today. So we're going to start our scan by clicking Scan Now, and this is what you're going to get. It'll automatically go out, make sure it's up to date, and then you'll see this nice little these arrows in a circle, and it shows each step of the scan. And the reason why I wanted to go over this is because Malwarebytes, they're at the top of their game. I mean, everything that they do is the very best, and each step of the way we'll go through each step. Right now we're at the pre-scan operations. It's already done that. You'll see the check mark here. Next is the memory objects. It's working. After that, startup objects, it's pending until it's done. Registry objects, file system objects, and your heuristic analysis as well. Okay, you also can pause, which I would not do. Okay, let's take a look at the next button to the left. Is called our dashboard, and this is where we were at the beginning. The scan, of course, shows you where we're at, and the settings is where we're going to probably spend most of our time today. Just want to give you a quick walkthrough. You got general, malware exclusions, web exclusions, detect and protection, update settings, history settings, access policy, advanced, automated scheduling, and about. Now on the general settings, you'll see here that notifications are enabled, and of course you have an opportunity to make sure you're in the right language here. Also, Explorer content menu, you have it no, and close a notification after so many seconds. 8 seconds is fine. Okay, our next button down is malware exclusions, and this is where if you happen to find what's called a false positive, you'd want to go ahead and click on add that file. It'll open up a window like this, and you can actually add that so it does not it'll exclude that particular file or folder location. Okay. Next is web exclusions. This is not available, so we won't cover it in today's video, but basically what that would do, you could add actually IP addresses or domains which should not be blocked by malware website protection. So that's kind of a cool little tool. The next button is detection and protection. Detection and protection. It's a customized detection protection behavior for malware, anti-malware bytes. These settings are recommended for advanced users. And then today we're just going to quickly take a look at detection options here. Now by default, use advanced heuristic engine. That's actually checked. I'd leave it there. Scan within archives, leave that checked. Now I actually like rootkit scans personally, and the reason why is rootkits can be a real problem, but this will take longer to scan. Non-malware protection. Now down here, potentially unwanted programs, they call them PUPs, P-U-P. A lot of folks don't know what these are, but they basically are not malware directly, but they can give up information about your system to outside users, therefore they are usually flagged. I actually treat my PUPs or potentially unwanted programs as malware. Now you have the option to click here and ignore it or warn. Now I actually treat it because I found, unless it's up to really the user here, if you decided you do want to, I'd at least go with warn, but don't ignore them, because you need to take a look at anything that this scan's going to bring up. Okay, so in my recommendation, I'd recommend at least minimal, click and go with warn. I actually treat mine as malware. Next is the potentially unwanted programs threat detection as malware. You got two different ones here, and this one here basically does the same thing. Okay, these two options are not available, the malware protection with the free version, and that's why these are grayed out. Okay, the next button down is our update settings. Although we did this at the beginning, it's always nice to make sure this is checked, and also it'll tell you if your database is out of date more than so many days. I definitely would not take it off one, just for the fact that you want the newest database settings that are coming in with the best information possible. Most people don't use proxies, so I would leave that alone unless you are very familiar with your own internal proxy settings. Okay, our next button is your history settings, which is nice. Now they have the recommended link here, but we're just going to go ahead and leave it like it is. Statistical data help fight malware anonymously by providing historical information. Now, if you don't want to do this, you can always uncheck this box here. I particularly don't mind doing it. Also, your scan log options export log information to a disk. You can tell it where to export this data log, because at the end of the scan it automatically creates a data log, which is nice. And the reason why, if you click here, it'll open up your computer, is because the data log will tell you a lot of information, and that helps you making decisions on your exclusion file and folder lists. So just remember that. That's what that's for. So pay attention to that. Make sure you know where the data log is, and this gives you that option of the path where the data log would be located. Okay. Next is access policies, which is grayed out because this is not included with the free version, but if you had it, it controls levels of access to various settings and functions for users of the Malwarebytes anti-malware. Pretty slick. Next is advanced settings. Again, these are all grayed out because we're using the free version, so we'll move on. But basically what that would be is for customize the behavior of the protection of Malwarebytes. These settings are recommended for advanced users. Next, we have automated scheduling, which is also grayed out with the free version. But basically, if you had purchased the full version, you could basically set this up to do automated scheduling, which is nice. And of course, with most software, if you click about it, this is basically the version that you're using and when the build was updated last. And of course, you have malwarebyte.org. And if you need further information or assistance, you'd click on this help button at the bottom, and it opens up in another window, and you're good to go. Okay, so let's go back to the scan, and the scan is still going. It's just about done, and we're almost done with this quick walkthrough as well. So let's go ahead and click up here to history. Now, if something comes up where it gets flagged, everything gets quarantined here to protect your computer. So in this case, I believe I should have something here because I set this up for our users so they could see us remove a actual some of the threats that could possibly come on my system. So now we're on the heuristic analysis scan right now, which is the very last, and then what we'll go from there, we'll take a look at the history, and it'll also give you a quick analysis by opening up that log file that we spoke about earlier. So if you're not scanning your system for malware, malware could be more damaging than viruses, believe it or not, because the malware allows the hackers to control your computer or your port connection to internet, so they can actually turn your computer into a bot and use your internet connection in your system to spread viruses all over the internet. So also banking information that gets hacked and so forth comes through malware. So malware is more destructive overall, and it seems to be the most famous tool used over the last year or so by hackers. So I just want to let everybody know that before we finalize our scan today. Okay, you can see now our scan is done. This is what it looks like, and if you see a nice green scan completed successfully and no malicious items were detected, that's awesome. And it gives you the scan type, the date, and also the time lapse of the scan, as well as the objects, the number of objects scanned, and any infected objects. So pay attention to the objects infected here. If you need more information, if it had found something, you'd click the detailed log, which opens up into a large log. Let me shrink it down so you can see it a little bit here. And it kind of goes over the details of the scan. Here we go. And this is kind of nice having the history, because this tells us a lot about what's going on with the operating system. And to the left you'll see the threats and the keys and the memory and everything that was scanned during malware scans. So also, you click on history, and if it had found something, you'd find those files here, and you click delete and get rid of that. So thanks for joining me today. Mark Pierce, StarTech Marketing. Have a wonderful day.